Hillary and Chelsea Clinton's production company has acquired the television rights to produce the New York Times bestseller, The Daughters of Kobani, a story of rebellion, courage, and justice. The book tells the story of the women who fight for the YPG PKK terror group to liberate the town of Kobani in northern Syria from ISIS. While it paints a picture of brave young women fighting against evil Daesh, the truth is far from it. We'll tell you all about it in this episode of Decoded. In April and May 2007, two PKK female suicide bombers were caught in the city of Adana in southeastern Turkey. The news made headlines but wasn't a surprise. The PKK started shifting from conventional bombings to suicide attacks by the mid-1990s. 30,000 people had been killed in its war with Turkey by then. 11 of the PKK's first 15 suicide attacks were carried out by women, often using pregnancy prosthetics and explosive-laden bras. 24-year-old psychology student Zainab Kanaja was the PKK's first ever suicide bomber. She used explosives disguised in a pregnancy belt. A second attack was carried out by 17-year-old Leyla Kaplan, in which 5 people, excluding the attacker, were killed. 20 years later, Seher Çağla Demir killed 37 people in an attack in Ankara. PKK founder Abdullah Öcalan, who is revered as a cult figure, talks a lot about the right of women to make their own choices, but Öcalan has also pushed women to carry out suicide attacks. The question is why? Why does the PKK use women to carry out femicidal suicide attacks? The PKK is inspired by the LTTE, a Tamil separatist group once active in Sri Lanka, which perfected female suicides, even killing former Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi in one such attack. And just like the LTTE, the PKK recruited women between the ages of 17 and 30 from low-income families to carry out suicide attacks. Terrorist organizations like the LTTE and PKK use vulnerable women to show the world that things are now so desperate that even women are willing to kill themselves. The PKK's femicide is often rebranded as heroic because the media, which gives greater publicity and coverage to female suicide bombers as opposed to men. But beyond the headlines, there's a deeper psychological aspect to using women as tools of violence and propaganda, because it goes against stereotypes of women as non-violent, feminine, and motherly. Now, square this with this image. A PKK female suicide bomber from the PKK's YPG banner who killed 2 Turkish soldiers in northern Syria in 2018. And this brings us to the Daughters of Kobani, based on the heroic women fighting for the YPG PKK. The PKK forced the Daughters of Kobani to carry out suicide attacks in Syria, not only against ISIS, as the book says, but also against Turkey, a NATO state. Using female bombers softened the PKK's image and glorified bombing as a valiant act. But the publicity stunt also inadvertently encouraged femicide by the PKK. And this is only the beginning of the tragedy for the Daughters of Kobani. A bigger pain has been for the parents. They want their daughters back from the PKK. So the bigger picture is less sympathetic to the terror group. Tell that to Hillary Clinton, who calls the abduction of the Daughters of Kobani as a heroic and valiant act. We'll let you decide if framing female suicide attacks is a valiant and honorable act, as Hillary Clinton's Daughters of Kobani will have you believe, or is this an attempt to hide the PKK's abuse of someone else's daughters to carry out acts of violence? Tell us what you think. Write your comments and suggestions on our YouTube page. I'm on Twitter @Ali_Mustafa.